In this year's annual letter, Melinda and I take the toughest questions we get asked and give our answers. One that's come up for a long time is, as we make the world healthier, is the population going to get so big that feeding everybody and maintaining the environment is going to be impossible? Here we can see a chart that looks at the total world population over the last several hundred years. And at first glance, this is a bit scary. We go from less than 1 billion in 1800, and then 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7.4 billion where we are today is happening even faster. So Melinda and I wondered whether providing new medicines and keeping children alive, would that create more of a population problem? What we found out is that as health improves, families choose to have less children. And this effect is very, very dramatic. We find that in every country of the world, this is repeated. The population growth goes down as we improve health. The population growth goes down as we improve health. So we've taken that chart that shows the global population growth, and we've actually extended it out all the way to 2100. And we can see that instead of continuing, it actually flattens out. It flattens out. Another way to see that is through this rate of population growth. And you can see that in the 60s, that reached a pretty high number, over 2% per year, and it's now come way, way down. Now, 11 billion people, still a lot, but the good news is that the faster we improve health, the faster family size goes down. But the good news is that the faster we improve health, the faster family size goes down. And so we can feel great about saving those lives. We need to revolutionize education. You know, today more than ever, if we look at the quality of education that most students in this country receive, it's very, very poor. The experience that you've had before you came to CMU, and of course here at CMU itself, is unfortunately the exception rather than the rule. So there's real progress being made, you know, more and more ambition. In fact, if we think of a lot of societal problems in terms of healthcare, you know, an elderly population, many of these, if we think a decade and 2 decades out, the role of robots in helping to deal with those problems and continue to improve the quality of life, I think can be very strong.
Brazil, late 2014. Doctors noticed a disturbing trend. An increasing number of babies were born with abnormally small heads, a condition known as microcephaly. The spike in microcephaly was linked to a virus called Zika that is spread by mosquitoes.
I just never dreamt, as an epidemiologist of infectious disease, that I would see a congenital transmission by a virus that would do such a great damage and would be transmitted by mosquitoes.
Throughout the Americas, mosquito bites are tied to many viral outbreaks. In the months before Zika spread in Brazil, Chikungunya, a tropical virus that causes terrible joint pain, invaded the Western Hemisphere, infecting almost 1 million people. And West Nile virus sickened more than 2,000 victims in the US, with symptoms ranging from fever to paralysis. To stop these outbreaks, scientists have turned their attention to fighting the mosquitoes that carry these diseases. And one of the weapons they are using is genetic engineering. In South America, the Zika virus is spread by a mosquito called Aedes aegypti. Other diseases, including dengue, chikungunya, and yellow fever, are also spread by this persistent insect.
Aedes aegypti is the cockroach of mosquitoes. It lives indoors and outdoors. It bites daytime and nighttime. It develops resistance to insecticides easily. The eggs can overwinter for a year. To control it, we have to kill the adult mosquitoes, the larval mosquitoes, both inside and outside.
Health officials have used sprays and screens to protect people from diseases spread by mosquitoes. But since 2002, scientists at a biotech company called Oxitec have been investigating a more direct approach.
Well, here in this van, we can fit almost 800,000 of male mosquitoes. As we go driving through the area, every time the app beeps, we just open one of the spots in here, and the mosquitoes will fly around and do their job.
Google's parent company, Alphabet, is actively conducting an experiment in California to eradicate mosquitoes, even though scientists are still uncertain about what the effects might be. Aedes aegypti mosquitoes are among the world's deadliest. Every year, millions of people are infected by them, and tens of thousands die. The bugs typically live in very warm, wet climates, but in 2013 they started showing up in California, and no one knows why. In Fresno's arid climate, they typically don't transmit any diseases, but the rapid expansion has people worried. So, Alphabet is taking it upon themselves to do something about it, under their unit, Verily. They infected millions of the mosquitoes' males with the Wolbachia bacterium in a laboratory. The bugs are reared by robots who feed them, keep them warm, sort them by sex, and give them digital identifiers. Then, during mosquito season, which runs from April to November, they've been driving around white Mercedes vans, shooting the lab-bred male mosquitoes out into the air. Those males then mate with female mosquitoes, and the Wolbachia infection stops their offspring from hatching. And it seems to be working, according to a Bloomberg report. Over 6 months in 2017, they released millions of the infected male mosquitoes, and they saw the population of the biting female mosquitoes drop by 2/3. In 2018, they tweaked the program and saw the population drop by a massive 95%. So it seems to be working in Fresno. And they've been conducting another project in Australia, which has reported an 80% reduction. The idea is to stop the mosquitoes from spreading in those parts of the world, and then to perhaps bring the technology to the places in the world where the mosquitoes are so deadly. Alphabet isn't the only company trying to eradicate mosquitoes either. Bill Gates is trying to genetically modify them in his own project. And in London, scientists just successfully wiped out mosquitoes in a lab. So, we're getting closer to being able to say, yeah, we can wipe mosquitoes out. The only thing scientists still can't say is what ecological effects that might have on the planet. Will it create mutant mosquitoes that do more harm, like our antibiotics have given rise to superbugs? Or will the planet be just fine without mosquitoes? One thing's for sure, we're not leaving it up to Mother Nature to decide anymore. Or at least our tech giants aren't.
100 million people at any one time are suffering from it. Means that you can't get the economies in these areas going because it holds things back so much. Now, malaria is, of course, transmitted by mosquitoes. I brought some here so you could experience this. We'll let those roam around the auditorium a little bit. There. There's no reason only poor people should have the experience. Those mosquitoes are not infected.